It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions.
Touchdown, San Diego!
Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Monday? We do. You do. From the DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, coming off a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Monday bonus podcast. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host with his opinions from left field, John Riley, and we welcome you. Podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. Lots of locations to serve you. Got projects, they've got materials, want ideas, they can be your best friend. What you need to do is go to DIXIELINE.com to see all the things that they have to offer. John Riley, wow, there's a lot of things posted on this bulletin board. We're going to go a lot of different directions, starting with hoops, talking Major League Baseball, late-breaking NFL, NBA, hockey stories, and what's going on in the world of soccer, and then a story to tell at the end of this podcast.
A lot going on. Yeah, a lot going on. Why the hell are you wearing the enemy sweatshirt today?
I'm wearing what was clean in the closet.
Okay, well, it's Padres Pirates today.
That's right.
You're switching to the other team.
No, I'm just wearing what was clean in the closet.
Okay, fair enough.
John, on this day, do not give me any crap. John and I, we're going to talk about something unique and different at the end of this podcast. But, John, what a spectacular weekend. March Madness, the wins, the shockers, and the way people reacted. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the women's final was really cool, especially the speeches at the end. But, yeah, this weekend was loaded, and we still got the big game tonight.
Okay, a couple of items, a couple of business notes here. We do sports talk the way it should be done. Lots of topics, lots of opinions. When we are done, we ask you, we request of you, we invite you, we order you to join us in the Fans Forum chat box. This is your chance to be like it used to be on Sports Talk Radio. Go into the chat box, ask a question, make a statement, take a shot, and we'll see how we respond. Fans Forum chat box at the end of the podcast. John, how do they do that?
The Fans Forum chat box. It's like your old school CompuServe, like even before the internet. So when they actually had chat box and everything else. Anyways, if you got a comment or question in the world of sports for Hacksaw, you want to give him crap about his Pirates sweatshirt, whatever you want to do, whatever you have in mind, leave your hot take in the live chat, YouTube, X, or Facebook, and we'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
Okay, just a reminder, I write a lot about the world of sports. It's all posted on my website, leehacksawhamilton.com. Also, you got to read the best 15 minutes in sports. I write it. It's there first thing every morning for you, as well as my one man's opinion column. Feel free, talking all things basketball today in the one man's opinion column. Also want you to join Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You can do that by registering on the homepage of my website. Just fill out the entry blank right there in the orange box to get you on the email list, because John and I put out 2 sports newsletters every day of the week, Monday through Friday. It's in your inbox. You'll want to do that. I'm ready. We got a lot to cover. John, where do we start?
We got to start with the big game tonight. We got Michigan against UConn.
The battle of the bigs. This is going to be something. You got 2 different coaches, obviously. Dan Calhoun, obviously, and what Dusty May has accomplished. These are the 2 hottest coaches in modern-day college basketball. And what a battle of the bigs this is going to be. You got a Day Mara coming off his greatest game in his college career, the ex-UCLA transfer, 26 points, 9 rebounds per game, playing unbelievably well in the open court, playing athletically, defensively. And then you got UConn's Terrace Reed in the tournament, averaging 21 points, 14 rebounds a game. And the most unique aspect to me, because he is the focal point of everything going on down on the block, he stays out of foul trouble. Michigan's guards and bench played with unbelievable passion when Michigan took out Arizona. I got huge questions whether UConn's guards, and both of them have injuries, can physically hold up to everything that the University of Michigan is going to throw at them in the backcourt. And then how many minutes will Michigan get out of Yexel Landerberg? He's got ankle, he's got knee problems. He's obviously a real dominant personality. But the arrival of Mara as a starting center, I'd never seen this before in his 2 years at Michigan, and obviously he was a young pup when he came from Spain to go to UCLA. He has just really gone big time in this tournament. And I think the intangible, these two teams bang on each other. How are the refs going to call this game? Are they let them going to play, or is it going to be a foul fest? So I'm fascinated to see this. If you're asking me, I just think there's way too much Michigan emotion, their ability to play transition, their ability to brawl, their ability to hit you wave after wave of guys coming off the bench. I just think there's too much Michigan, not enough Connecticut Husky. But these two coaches, they pull rabbits out of the hat. They change things as they go. It's going to be a fun, fascinating game.
It will be. And I think in every state in America except Connecticut and Ohio, I think they want Michigan to win because they're sick and tired of Dan Early. So this is going to be a fun matchup. I mean, I didn't expect UConn to be here. I mean, I had Arizona going the whole way, but Michigan looked tough. And just the interviews with these coaches, I just learned a lot more about Dusty May, because I remember him as the FAU coach because they faced the Aztecs in the Final Four like 3 years ago. But he coaches in a very different style than Dan Hurley. I mean, he's much more cerebral, much more positive, almost psychologically trying to keep good vibes going, giving his players sort of that freedom within a framework, kind of like how Steve Fisher used to do. So, I mean, the more I'm learning about Dusty May, the more I'm really liking him.
His roster's pretty damn complete, too.
Oh, yeah. Mara was just unbelievable. He was flying through the air doing slam dunk alley-oops. And, yeah, that's a hell of a team, Michigan.
Yeah, he's fascinating. He's intuitive. He's really intellectual. And that's not to demean anything that Hurley is. Hurley is loud. Hurley is verbose. Hurley is demanding every second of every shift, every minute, every trip down the floor. There's a little bit different type of composure, I think, on the Michigan end. So who you got winning?
Oh, definitely Michigan. I'm with Michigan here. And by the way, did you see the old Fab Five boys doing their little broadcast?
Yeah, in the sub channel, they must have been in their glory.
Oh, so happy for them. There was a lot of love for Dutcher and Fisher as well in that. So yeah, I'm all for Michigan here.
Okay,
how about you?
I picked Michigan.
Okay,
Maize and blue.
Yeah, here we go.
I would wear maize and blue, but this was the clean sweatshirt that was in the closet when I decided to come do this podcast. Fans Forum is available. Who do you think is going to win? How cool has this tournament been? Now, there are a lot of other storylines leading up to where we've gotten to Championship Monday night. Let's talk about some of this other stuff.
Yeah, some of this other stuff. How about those Lady Bruins? I mean, they just rolled everybody.
UCLA, Bruinsbury, South Carolina. Got to give Coach Close a lot of credit. Her game plans destroyed everybody along the way. Her game plans dismantled everything Dawn Staley at South Carolina tried to do. The Bigs played beyond the way they played virtually all season. The defense held the Lady Gamecocks to 29% shooting, 3 of 14 on threes, and UCLA had 49 rebounds in 40 minutes of that basketball game. Lauren Betts, 14 points, 11 rebounds. Gabriela Jaquez, the sister of an NBA star, former UCLA star, Jaime Jaquez, she went for a career best 21 and 10. And this is the UCLA team that destroyed Texas, went on, and now dismantles the Lady Gamecocks. And UCLA made Madison Booker, South Carolina's superstar pivot, disappear. Booker was 3 for 23 against UCLA's Bigs. What a phenomenal performance by UCLA basketball. Surprised it ended this way?
Yeah, I am. I mean, you usually always expect to see, the same people in there. Like, Gino Auriemma, you expect South Carolina to be loaded. But UCLA, finally, a a West Coast team, winning a national championship in basketball. That's refreshing. Corey Close, the interviews with her afterwards, I mean, she's a different kind of a coach.
She's a little fiery, though.
She is, but she's an intellectual, and I guess she hung out with John Wooden. Is that right?
Yeah,
that's what they were talking about. But Betts was fabulous. I mean, and it gets cool that her sister's on the team. But it was Gabrielle Jaquez, and the way when she was interviewed, not on the big stage when they gave out the trophy, but like almost immediately after the game ended, I was really impressed with how she carried herself and kind of understanding the moment, of what this was. And there's a lot of quality characters on that UCLA team.
Yeah, Lauren Betts grew and grew and grew. What a really complete player she is. She'll be fascinating to see some of these move on to the WNBA. So if you saw ladies basketball, your reaction to what we saw. I mean, we cannot believe UCLA destroyed Dawn Staley in South Carolina. It was not a victory. I mean, it was a massive torch job.
Well, they doubled the score.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a complete thump.
Okay, topic 3. Let's talk about Upset City.
Yeah. How in the hell did Arizona lose this game against Michigan?
How do you explain all this? Let's talk about the 2 shockers this weekend. We'll start with the Arizona Wildcats getting mauled by Michigan. I mean, the Wildcats have steamrolled everyone up until this game. Koa Pete, MIA. The 2 guards disappeared in the first half. I'm talking about Braylon Burries, Jaden Bradley. Krivas and Marchenko could not cope with Mera inside. Now, granted, Mera's big, but Krivas and Karachenko have a great history of being physical and just clogging up the middle, and Mera just blew by them along the way. And it was obvious Tommy Lloyd had to be shell-shocked. You talk about being stunned. His guys just got totally taken out of the game. And it wasn't until it was garbage time and they were down by 29 that the guards started to play and hit some shots, but by that point, Michigan had taken their foot off the pedal. So the Arizona Wildcat loss on the men's side, wow. And then let's talk about UConn Lady Husky basketball, the one that was 38-0, the one that's won all these national titles. Gino Auriemma out-coached, out-thought, out-schemed, and then out-emotioned by the Gamecocks, 62-48. This is a UConn team that was averaging 88 a game, and they scored 48 in the semifinal loss to the Lady Gamecocks. And then, of course, the big story after the game, Gino refused to shake the hands of Dawn Staley, refused to shake the hands of any of the South Carolina players, and then ripped the refs in the postgame show. Part of me would say, what terrible sportsmanship by a Hall of Fame coach. But the other part of me says, this is the same coach that leaves his starters in during the season. You know, they've had 39-0 seasons, 40-0 seasons, 38-0 seasons. It's the same coach that leaves his guys on when the score is 104-33 against some poor hapless opponent, leaves his starters in. And there's a video out there. Staley did shake Gino's hand in a pregame meeting. So why is he barking and bitching about, I waited for 3.5 minutes at center court and she never came out? What really bothers me, he made this all about him. I thought it was selfish. I thought it was a sorry-ass display. And here's this legendary Hall of Fame coach who's a problem solver, could not solve the problems of what South Carolina did to his team, and then he became the problem. And a day later, he apologizes, but it's meaningless because the whole world has seen what Gino did. So talk about the Wildcats' loss on the men's side and talk about UConn being sent home with a cloud of embarrassment around their head coach.
Well, it was, the Arizona thing was weird because we knew going into that game, both teams had a lot of beef, a lot of pillars, that are down low in the post, and you knew it was going to be a tough battle. But I just didn't expect that Arizona was going to get turned over so much. They were always kind of out of their game. And then But thinking it through is like when the Aztecs played both of these teams, and they were sort of kind of in the game with Arizona at halftime, but they were never in the game against Michigan. No. So if you kind of want to have like a benchmark, I think that goes to show you that Michigan was sort of the better team, and that's the way it played out. But it's interesting that Tommy Lloyd, was rumored to go to UNC, rumored to go a lot of other places, and that they paid him. I mean, didn't they pay him during this tournament?
Give him a 5-year extension.
So I'm wondering now if the university is like, darn it, I was expecting him to win the championship. And then as far as the women goes, in our last episode, we were just stroking Gino Auriemma, talking about how great he is and his legacy. And
look at the history.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, he's like this bad loser, at the end of the game, and you're like, oh man, I don't want to see this from this guy. And Dawn Staley just once more time just keeps impressing me because she's. How should I say this? She's not just a great coach. She's not just tough, but she carries herself with class. And she will do the obligatory handshake, win or lose, and she's not going to start crying about it. So Gino Auriemma, man, that's just a disgrace. It just makes us all hate UConn even more.
Yeah, and Dawn Staley she's also got a, quote, edge to her.
She does, but it's a good edge. It's not a bad edge.
Yeah. And speaking one other side note in college basketball, North Carolina finally hired a coach this morning. This is a unique hire. Mike Malone, former head coach Denver Nuggets, former head coach Sacramento Kings, former head coach of an NBA championship team. But everywhere he's coached, he wears people out, and he's been asked to leave. It's unique because North Carolina went after Tommy Lloyd. North Carolina went after Billy Donovan, the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. North Carolina went after other head coaches. All of them said we're staying where we are, turned them down. So Mike Malone is like 5th on the checklist, and he doesn't have a job and hasn't been hired by anybody in the NBA since he got taken out a couple of years ago by Denver. And to me, the most unique thing, he's got a real hard edge to him, kind of like Belichick.
Uh-oh.
So what do you think it's going to be like in Chapel Hill with Chapel Hill Bill and Madman Mike, who are really hard to deal with, being their head coaches? Wow. And why they settled on Mike Malone after striking out on at least 4 other guys, they had formed a committee that included athletic people and former NBA players who wore the Tar Heel colors. And after they kept striking out, one of the players, Tyler Hansbrough, former NBA center, said, I want you to consider this guy. He was the one that kind of directed him towards Mike Malone. But I'll tell you what, the personality of the leadership, you always thought North Carolina was pretty classy. Now you got 2 madmen down there in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you just think of Dean Smith and
Roy Williams.
And those dudes were like the epitome of class, right? And it was just kind of like they were Southern gentlemen. It kind of had the whole look down, the whole thing. And now we're going to have these guys with flames bursting out their ears, running up and down the sideline. So it just makes me wonder what the university is thinking. Is this the kind of guy that we want to represent us? Does he represent our brand?
Win at all costs.
Yeah,
the boosters throwing dollars on the table. Go get this guy. Well, this guy's track record is a little tacky at times. Go get this guy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I thought this is a blue blood job. I mean, I'm surprised that they had to go to their 5th choice.
I thought it was royalty.
Yeah, exactly.
You wind up with Chapel Hill Bill and Hot Pants, and now you wind up with Mad Mike.
Well, the football is different. They don't have the reputation of basketball. But yeah, it is. Well, Mike Malone, here we go.
Shall be interesting. You got a comment about what just happened at North Carolina? Feel free. Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open for business. Last hot topic on the table. This involves the NBA before we get to halftime. You talk about a U-turn on the road. Holy cow.
Yeah, these guys were cooking, and now 2 guys are really hurt.
The Lakers had won 16 of 18. It looked like the Lakers had grabbed 3rd place by the throat in the Western Conference. And in a span of about 20 minutes, their season gets knocked off track. Now, they got smoked by Oklahoma City. They weren't ready. At one point, the Lakers trailed by 46 in that game in OKC. They wound up losing by 43. Then they get blitzed in Dallas. Cooper Flagg goes off for 45 against a really weak Laker team. LeBron had 30. Nobody else did anything else. And Dallas isn't all that good. So Cooper Flagg scores 45 the night after he scored 51. What a phenomenal accomplishment there. But here's the big storyline. So they got back-to-back bad losses. Now they got 2 bad injuries. And this is in the span of a second quarter and a third quarter in Oklahoma City. Luka Doncic tweaks his hamstring late second quarter, goes to the locker room, is examined. Austin Reaves going for a rebound, seems to pull a ribcage muscle. He comes off the floor early third quarter. Doctors look at him. Luka and Austin come back in the game in the middle of the third.
What?
They were cleared by their doctors. Now, maybe Luka talked his way back onto the floor. They were getting killed by OKC, though. Luka immediately comes up the court, goes down and re-injures the hamstring. And now they're talking 6 weeks. They're talking he's going to miss a chunk of the playoffs, if not all the playoffs. And moments later, Austin Reaves goes for another rebound and injures his oblique, which he'd been cleared earlier in the quarter to come back and play. So J.J. Redick is catching a lot of national heat from the media. You got 2 injured superstars that have fueled this 16-win and 18-game span, and you put them back on the floor after they got hurt. And J.J.'s response is the doctors medically cleared them. This was the data I had. These guys wanted to play. Wow. And now they're in big trouble because Denver is a half game behind them in the fight for third place. And, Houston's not that far back. Minnesota's a little farther back. At the end of the day, they could tumble as far as 5th. And by the way, who's in the Western Conference? OKC, 61-16. San Antonio, 59-19. And now the Lakers are going to have to finish whatever's left on the schedule without Luka, without Austin, knowing full well they'll have to start the best-of-3 or best-of-5 series without either one of those guys. Where's the firepower going to come from, and where's the defense going to come from now that those guys are gone? Boy, you talk about a U-turn on the road from what was really hot to stone-cold reality of you're in trouble.
Now LeBron's going to have to put the team on his back and carry them for the rest of the way and into the playoffs.
At age 41.
Yeah, LeBron doesn't even play defense most of the time. I mean, he's usually kind of cherry picking on the other end of the court when the defense goes the other way so he can get the fast break points. Yeah, this is a problem. I mean, this is a big problem. And even before they got injured, they were getting whooped pretty good by OKC.
Oh, they were getting smoked.
Yeah, and you and I were anticipating that game. Could the Lakers really be contenders because they had knocked off so many other high-quality Western Conference teams?
Correct.
Then they were getting their doors blown by OKC, and I'm like, okay, a little reality check. And now all of a sudden this. And I could just see the Lakers just sliding right out of the – I mean, they'll still make the playoffs probably, but it could be easily one and done.
Laker basketball was down by 46 points in that game in OKC.
Yeah, that was a thumping.
Yeah, so they're in big trouble. Your comments are invited. Fans Forum open. If you're a Laker fan, how much trouble are they in? Do you bang on J.J. Redick, or was this just bad luck because the medical people cleared Luka and AR to come back on the floor? We are at halftime. Our Monday bonus podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. You got projects, they got materials. Let's talk doors, let's talk windows, let's talk renovation at your home. Summer is coming. If you live in an older house like we do, John, you put new windows and doors in, I guarantee your house will stay cool. The air conditioning inside in the summer will stay inside. The heat will stay outside. And in the winter, it flips. The heat stays inside. The cold weather is out at the front door. I'm just amazed because I got Anderson windows from DIXIELINE. I was floored with how good they are.
They are, yeah. That's one of the quality manufacturers. You know, you got Anderson, there's Milgard, there's Simonton. So Dixieline works with all the reputable brands out there as far as doors and windows. Here we're seeing a lot of the big doors, the La Cantina doors that are like these giant collapsing or sliding doors that people have in their home to separate their outdoor space from their interior. But, you know, this is April. This is when people start doing major remodels at their homes. So go to Dixieline, go check out any one of their 8 stores in San Diego County. And if you're looking to do like decking, you know, which is a big thing this time of the year, go to the La Mesa store, and they have like full displays that are inside, but they're like, you know, gazebos with decking, and you can see it all firsthand.
Dixieline Lumber. Go to Dixieline.com to see all the things that they have to offer. We are at halftime. Podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber. Just a couple of reminders. When we're done with topics on the table, we're urging you to jump on board. Join us in the Fans Forum chat box. And again, for the new people who have never participated, this is kind of like sports talk radio in the modern era on a podcast. Explain it.
Yeah, can I get a call on my ladies line?
Damn it.
So, hey, if you got a comment or a question, I see a lot of people are filling up. A lot of Bruin lady love going on out there in the chat forum here. So if you got a question or comment in the world of sports, just drop your hot take in the live chat on X, YouTube, or Facebook. We'll get you involved in Fans Forum.
You like sports? Please check my website. It's all written. You like headlines? You like stories? I got it all. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. It's there first thing every morning when you get up. More importantly, we now send out 2 newsletters a day. You can register to become part of Hacksaw's Insider Group. Just fill out the orange box, get on the email list. We guarantee you we'll get you 2 newsletters in the morning, 1 in the afternoon in your inbox. Want you to share. Tell everybody what we're doing Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. You can subscribe because then you'll get the alerts every time we put some additional media up on the YouTube channel. We do a lot of that during the course of the week. You can help make us this grow. You're watching us. Find the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button, damn it. Hit the follow button that you're following this podcast on a regular basis. And, of course, give us a 5-star rating if you're on Apple, because that helps us grow this thing a great deal. Follow me on Twitter, social media, become part of my Twitter All-Star team. Just type in Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button. You'll get the chance to participate in Hacksaw's mini polls because I do ask a lot of questions. So we thank you for being part of our podcast. It's great to have you on board. You can help us grow as we go further because we cover a lot of topics on the table. We do something really different. As I like to say, we do sports talk the way it should be done. Hope you're enjoying it. Thanks for being with us. Okay, John, we move to the second half. Time to talk a little baseball.
Yeah, the Padres win 2 out of 3 in Boston.
On they go. Padres, they're playing the Pirates. This is not any type of sports statement from the host. This is just the host grabbing what was hanging in the closet. Happened to be the Pirate logo jersey this week.
Skeens lover.
Yeah, Skeens. Old-time Pirate fan. Back in the day of Elroy Face, Bob Friend, Ron Klein, Don Gross, Dale Long, Eddie and Johnny O'Brien, Don Hoke, Roberto Clemente.
Well, a lot of those names are before Clemente, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they're all part of that thing.
That thing in the late 60s, early 70s?
So I knew the Pirates and the great broadcaster Bob Prince.
All right. Well, your Mrs. Hacksaw loves the Pirates, too.
Yeah, well, those refugees from West Virginia, you know. Anyhow, Padres. Padres take 2 of 3 against a really disappointing Red Sox team, which is 2-7. A slumping Machado cracks a 3-run home run. A slumping Merrill has 3 hits one day, another bomb yesterday. Castellanos is not hit, 2-run double. At the end of the day, though, as they get ready to play the Pirates, look at the box scores. Tatis is only hitting .212, Machado hitting .222, Xander .200, Nick Castellanos .188, Jake Cronenworth only .125, Ty France .125, Campusano .200, Fermin .118. That's a hell of a lot of guys making a hell of a lot of money that aren't really hitting very much early in the season. I know it's a small sample size, but at the end of the day, when your team batting average is 190, That's not very good. I'm still bothered by the experimentation. What are you doing at 4:30 today? You got any free time? Do you want to bat leadoff for the Padres? They keep changing the lineup. They've used 4 different leadoff hitters in the first 2 weeks of the season, trying to figure out who we are. I have problems with that. Pitching staff, Pivetta and Vasquez look really solid. I don't know what they're going to do at Michael King. He's got good innings, but he doesn't go deep. Walker Buehler throws 2 quality innings in his first 2 starts and then gets really roughed up in the 3rd and 4th inning. Marquez will start again. If this bad trend continues with Buehler and Marquez, they're going to have to make a decision. Matt Waldron has had back-to-back good starts at AAA El Paso, 7 combined innings, no runs allowed. J.P. Sears is out there, but his ERA is almost 5. Griff Canning made 1 start. It was pretty decent. He's probably 2 to 3 starts away from coming up. So not the complete team that I would have expected, but they put a lot of guys on base against a Red Sox team that's really struggled out of the gate, and people in Boston are freaking out. So you tell me where you think the Padres really are, because to me, I think these guys are going to hit. It is what I call a small sample size, but damn, they're not hitting at all. And I still have huge reservations because we got problems here with at least starters 4 and 5 and maybe starters 3, 4, and 5. And I don't see anybody out there that I can trust if we have to go into the system to get somebody.
Yeah, those are all legit points. The stats don't lie. I mean, the numbers, those batting averages aren't good, but they're better than they were before the Boston series. So it's improving. You like to see some of the bats waking up. I mean, especially Manny's home run. Did you see I was caught by a guy that was wearing Padre gear? He was up on the top of the monster, and apparently he was born and raised in Del Mar, and now he lives in Buffalo, New York. And I'm like, how did that happen? How do you go from paradise to upstate New York? But at any rate, the Padres, they look good. Merrill's home run was terrific. Vasquez just keeps impressing me. Yep. Just the way and then Pivetta looked really good too. And so Stammen moved Laureano to the top of the lineup, and I thought, I like that. Yeah, that can work. And you put Tatis at 2, and Tatis on Sunday struck out 4 times in a row, and they hit that like laser line drive in the 9th inning that was a double, and that ended up becoming like that was a go-ahead run there. So the guys, they need to improve. As far as the pitching goes, though, who is another guy that you can maybe think about is Kyle Hart. I mean, they've made some tweaks to him. He's looked pretty good in relief. Now, granted, he's usually coming in relief when they're tied or maybe a little bit behind, but he's much better than he was last year.
But that's only a 2-inning solution because his 3rd and 4th innings have been bad, just like Buehler, just like Marquez.
Well, Marquez goes tonight. He hasn't looked good. No. He needs to show us something.
Yeah, I concur. I got Stammen's number here. Do you want me to call and volunteer your services to bat leadoff?
Well, I'm a big Ricky Henderson fan, so I'm all over, man. If he gives me a call, baby, I can take pitches like the best of them and get on base with a walk.
Your slug leaves a lot to be desired, though. Okay, you're a Padre fan. Your impressions of where we are right now. I'm just kind of zinged about we're experimenting with the batting order.
Well, that's good.
Into the season, you had 6 weeks to configure this out. You got any eligibility? Would like to apply for the leadoff hitter's job? But I am more concerned about the pitching staff. And I want to see Buehler do well because he's traveled such a tough-ass road to come back from the 2 surgeries. And Marquez has been good but has not been good here in San Diego. So we got that. Fans Forum is available with an opinion, please. Let's talk about the Dodgers and the Angels.
Yeah, it's been a roller coaster ride. Look at Roki Sasaki. He's all over the place.
Yeah, let's start with the Dodgers. Ohtani's hitting home runs. it just feels like they're swinging from the heels. The team batting averages haven't been very good there, but there are some that are starting to get hot. Andy Pages is hitting .471. Now, a year ago this week, he was hitting .100, and they're thinking about sending him back. Dalton Rushing's got 3 home runs. He's hitting .400. Teoscar, who lost all that weight in the offseason, he's hitting .345. Kyle Tucker is kind of heated up. He's batting .273. They don't have Mookie Betts. Betts has got all these physical complications, and now he's gone down with an oblique injury. He was only batting .179. And this comes on the heels of last year, which was kind of wiped out and impacted by the stomach gastro infection problem that he had. You know, his age catching up to Mookie Betts. He can't stay on the field, can't stay healthy. Rotation looks pretty good, but here's Sasaki. He hasn't solved it. He hasn't figured it out. And then now they left Sasaki out there to throw almost 90 pitches on the weekend, John. His ERA is over 7. So he gets another start. He goes 5 innings, 5 hits, 6 runs, allows 2 more home runs. He's just not dominant at all. Or if he's dominant, it's for an odd inning or 2, and then it all unravels on him. And so I don't know whether it's mechanics that allow the pitch locations to start to go away. It's got to be alarming. Now, granted, they've got a lot of pitching, but it's got to be alarming. They can't figure this kid out. Is the kid better served to go to Oklahoma City? So that's the Dodger story. Angels. You see the video of Joe Adell?
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, just amazing.
3 over-the-fence home run-saving catches against Seattle. 2 of them in dead center field, leaping up over the yellow line, bringing it back, and the other in the right field corner going into the stands. Over the fence, into the stands, glove up, held it. Hell of a job. It's taken him a long time to become an established major leaguer. You know, he hit 30 home runs last year. Still not hitting for a huge average, but boy, his defense has gotten better. So cool for him. However, if it involves the Angels, there's problems. They got 8 guys in their batting order hitting under 240. 8 of their 9 guys in the lineup. Mike Trout's hitting only 212. And we had hoped that, okay, you got all these young pitchers. Let's see if somebody surfaces to take the 3rd, 4th, and 5th job. Jack Kachanowicz, Ryan Johnson, George Klassen, all have gotten lit up. So the Angels, even though they're off to a decent start, and they did beat up Seattle, Angels are struggling. Home opener. I knew this was going to happen. Home opener, they salute former Angels or people who've done stuff on behalf of the organization. They salute John Carpino, the retiring president. He's going to go out to throw the first pitch. He got booed like you would not believe. He's not held in great esteem by anybody who's an Angel fan.
Yeah.
So that's an issue. And then right as they were introducing Artie Moreno, here came the chant. Artie, sell the team, sell the team. It went on and on and on.
Good.
Angels just, they've had a good start. I don't think they have enough players. And the atmosphere just, I knew it was going to be ugly, and it was ugly for, supposed to be the excitement of the home opener.
Yeah, I'm glad the Angel fans are speaking up. Mm-hmm. You know, they got to make their message clear. But yeah, you love the Joe Adell thing. I mean, those catches. Now, there's a lot of controversy on that 3rd catch because he caught it and his feet weren't necessarily in the playing field. Was his whole body in the stands? And is that a legal catch? You know what I mean?
If he doesn't bobble it, juggle it, yeah.
So seriously, like if you have like a really low wall like that in right field, could a player like literally like hurdle the wall and go up 5 rows of seats and catch the ball and it'd be an out?
I don't think so. I think you have to make your leap from in the field.
Okay.
And when you come down, if you hit the wall and tumble in, it's an out. But you can't. You're going to vault the row and you're going to do this going up the stairwell? Nah.
Well, do you ever see the highlight? There's one Japanese player that like climbed the wall and then jumped like Spider-Man and caught it one time. So, yeah, good on Joe Adell. It's nice to be talking about something positive about the Angels, right?
Okay, you're a baseball fan, Dodger Angel fans. Jump on board. Your fans forum is open. We go from that because it's the offseason in the NFL, and we're now into April, and we're starting to march towards the NFL draft, and we had headlines in a bunch of different places.
Yeah, teams in the news, the Chiefs.
I don't understand this. You did go to law classes at UCSD. Explain the NFL's rationale. We know about Rashee Rice, all the junk 3 years ago, the arrests, the felony, the 6-game suspension, leaving the scene of a drag racing accident that injured a whole bunch of people. Now he's getting sued for $1 million by his former fiancée for 8 years of domestic abuse. They got photos and everything in the lawsuit. The trial's going to start. NFL does its own investigation and clears him. Says they will not discipline him. Now, historically, Roger Goodell and the NFL committees would wait until the legal thing runs its course, then they make the decision. They've cleared him like he did nothing wrong. And I've read some of the transcripts and the stuff that was the testimony that's part of the lawsuit. And I said, how is that humanly possible? He's involved in choking his fiancée and pounding her and all. How is this possible that he doesn't get any discipline, not removed? So that's a Kansas City story. Dallas. Should I bring this back? The Max Crosby Ravens story where the Raiders just won't go away. In Dallas, their senior team physician is the one that was brought in as a consultant by the Baltimore Ravens as the third medical opinion to look at the MRIs of Max Crosby's surgery. And he told the Ravens, he could play this year, but there's probably arthritis in there, and there's cartilage damage in there, and there's probably more meniscus damage coming. As an outside consultant, he said, I wouldn't make the trade. He gave the same report to Jerry Jones because Jerry Jones was talking to the Raiders about trying to acquire Max Crosby. And he told Jerry Jones, don't make this trade. In essence, this guy will be damaged goods sometime over the next 4 years of this mega contract. So Jerry Jones backed away. So this Max Crosby story just won't go away. San Francisco, General Manager John Lynch. They have played their final snap for the San Francisco 49ers. We're not offering them a contract. They are free to leave. Thank you for your time. That was his latest responses to what he's doing with Brandon Ayuk, who's still out there. They still own his rights. They've refused to release him. They're trying to get a draft pick. They don't want him back. He walked out on his contract last year. Now they've said the exact same thing about Jawan Jennings. Really bright light young wide receiver, had 77 catches this past season. No offer. He's free to leave. And, of course, prior to that, they ran Deebo Samuel out of there a year ago, and they traded him to the Washington Commanders. So John Lynch is getting rid of all the divas in San Francisco. Raiders. So they decided they were going to sign Kirk Cousins to this 1-year, 3-layered contract after Atlanta released him. They only decided to sign him after they found out the Rams had moved in and were about to bring him in for an interview. Get this stat. Do you know over the course of his career with the Washington Redskins, Commanders, Minnesota Vikings, and Atlanta Falcons, he's made $341 million in his career.
Yeah.
He's never won anything, but he's made $341 million.
He's a smart guy.
Smarter as hell. Interesting. And the last topic has to do with the Chargers. As we're going towards the draft, I'm going to stand up and say, don't do this. Now, you can argue with me. The Chargers trade talks now include the Jets, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and another team for Quentin Johnston, #1 draft pick. Quentin Johnston has 144 receptions in 3 years, averaging like 14 yards per catch. Some touchdowns, has a history of dropping the ball, and in big games, not being very trustworthy. They got him for 1 more year at a very affordable price. I think it's $8 million. And they've got an option for the 5th year at $18 million. They're not going to pick up that option. But why trade him now? I mean, granted, you got Ladd McConkey. Granted, you drafted 2 young kids last year that played a lot. Sometimes played okay. Trey Harris sometimes dropped balls. Lambert Smith. I would just rather keep Q for 1 more year and see how he fits in Mike McDaniel's thing. So don't trade Quentin Johnston yet. Let him walk as a free agent at the end of the season. Or maybe you sign him to a contract extension if he truly has a breakout, trustworthy Sunday by Sunday season. John, your response to the NFL Notebook?
No, there's a lot there. I mean, the Rashee Rice thing, you said that he's being sued for some amount of money, right?
$1 million of domestic abuse.
So this is a civil trial, not a criminal trial. But was he busted criminally for this? Mm. So this is, I think, part of why the NFL, I'm just reading between the lines here, that why they probably said, no harm, no foul, because I'm sure the police investigated this and they probably didn't come up with anything.
He said, she said.
Yeah. So, I mean, but there's just a lot of this kind of thing going on in the NFL. Generally speaking, though, you would expect contract language would be the determiner of this, in terms of when you cross the line, let's define what the line is. If you're accused of a crime, if you've been held criminal, what if you've been held criminally charged and you served your time? At what point do you come back? It seems like that could be spelled out in the contract with some pretty standard boilerplate that's probably agreed upon with the union.
I think the other problem is Kansas City under Andy Reid has a history of guys with real tainted pasts, and they let them play.
So is he like a Jerry Tarkanian type that likes to give guys second chances?
Bingo.
Yeah, one of those kind of guys. And that can work for you sometimes. The Niners seem to be making a statement about culture, don't you think? I mean, these are good receivers that they're cutting loose because they're not buying into what the management and the head coach are selling.
Yep.
And then as far as the Chargers are concerned, with Quentin Johnston, we keep hoping that he's going to live up to potential.
Take the next step forward.
Yeah, and then every once in a while he'll make a step or two forward, and then he regresses or he fades out. I don't have a problem with them trying to trade him at this point because they've been working with him. They probably feel it's a lost cause. Sometimes guys, when they get the yips on dropping a ball, there is no coming back from that. So if you can flip him, get someone back, they probably have a lot of faith in those other young kids and receivers.
Yeah, they do. He's had 51 and 55 catches the last 2 years, but from a Sunday to Sunday standpoint, he's not a superstar. And by this point, they thought he'd be a scary type wide receiver.
Oh, especially going deep.
Yeah, there's no consistency there. I'm sorry you're not making what Kirk Cousins is making. You're stuck here talking on a podcast with me.
Good on Kirk, man. I mean, he's making bank a lot of times as a backup, and he's just in the right spot at the right time, isn't he?
Do you think Kirk Cousins to the Raiders makes them something really significant in the AFC West since we already know all the other components around him?
Well, offensively, for sure. I mean, I don't know how the defense is going to be, and it sounds like Max Crosby's knee is about to blow up at any moment. So who knows what's happening on the other side of the ball. But the Raiders, I think, can be competitive, right? For the first time in a while. I'm going to be curious to see how they handle Kirk Cousins. Is he going to be like start in the first few games and then bring in Mendoza, or is Mendoza not going to really show up until the second half of the year? I mean, how they play that is going to be a good storyline.
Yeah, I think so. But Cousins, I think he'll be the starter for half the season, 2/3 of the season, depending how the season goes. And they're going to slow play the growth of the kid Mendoza. Okay, you're a Charger fan. Would you keep Quentin Johnston, or would you just move him to the Jets? And you're not going to get a number one pick. I mean, that's what he was. You move him, get a fifth, get a fourth.
Get something.
Get something. Okay, we go from that. Hockey Hotline's open for business.
Yeah, a lot going on here with the Islanders at top.
Wow, what a story. Nobody expected to see this happen. The New York Islanders fire Patrick Waugh, their head coach, with 5 games to go in the season. They're trying to hold on to a playoff spot. They've been in a bad skid. They lost 4 in a row. They've lost 8 of 10. It's just not the same team. Now, Isles have had a bunch of injuries, but the blast is structurally, defensively, they are terrible. And that goaltender Samsonov has just been they got outshot 43-16 the other night. He's just looking at way too much rubber. They've hired Peter DeBoer, really good coach, really demanding coach. This was a guy I thought the Kings were going to go after. He's no longer on the board. Peter DeBoer, ex-Dallas Stars head coach, has won a Stanley Cup in Tampa. His record in Dallas was 149, 68, and 29. This guy's got 662 career wins. This guy's a really good coach. The Islanders, and they're swallowing 2+ years of Patrick Waugh's contract. Wow. So that's a big story there. Let's talk about the playoffs.
Playoffs?
For the first time since in 14 years, the Buffalo Sabres have clinched a playoff spot. They have 100 points in the standings. Just absolutely amazing. Tage Thompson, a lot of young guys, some veteran guys, change of general manager. That's had something to do with it. They are playing really, really good hockey. Buffalo's got 100 points in the standings. That's pretty impressive. So is Montreal. Now, Montreal's 8-game winning streak was snapped last night. They're in the middle of a long road trip. Cole Caulfield's got 49 goals. This guy's come out of nowhere. He's small. He's undersized. Max Suzuki, small, undersized. God, they play fast. They're playing really well. They got 100 points in the standings, too. Now, Montreal's been trying to build towards this. And then there's the Ducks. All of a sudden, where'd the goal scoring go? Ducks have lost 5 in a row, and they were red hot. They were raging hot. They're tied with the Oilers. They both have 87 points. Vegas is right behind them with 86. That's a dogfight in the Pacific Division. So last 2 weeks of the NHL season, pay attention to what's going on with Buffalo, Tampa Bay. Pay attention to Montreal being in that mix. And then obviously Anaheim, Edmonton, and that other team, Vegas, which just made a coaching change. The last couple of weeks of hockey, it's going to be fun to see who finishes where.
Yeah, it's kind of cool how the NBA season's similar, you know. Mm-hmm. We're right at the end of the season going into the playoffs. Now, I'm not as much of a hockey guy. I mean, you're old school hockey dude.
If I brought some Molson's Canadian over here and we sat and we watched it on TV, you'd become a hockey puck.
Well, I watch it, but I mean, you've been broadcasting it for decades. You were part of the whole slap shot, storyline and all that. So I'm still learning. But here, help me understand this. When I think about New York hockey, I always think of the Rangers.
Sure.
I never really think of the Islanders. Have the Islanders been good? I mean, what's the whole story with that team?
Anybody out there want to join him in Fans Forum? Anybody want to lecture him about Clark Gillies, John Tonelli, and great Islanders of yesteryear? Because they had a stretch under Al Arbor, Hall of Fame coach. Mm-hmm. Another name you should look up.
Okay.
That's your homework assignment. Just fill in the blanks. Now, they've had some great runs. Lou Lamoriello was there forever. The Islanders have a great history. Not recently. Just type in the name Mike Bossy, and that'll take you the rest of the way with the Islanders. See, hockey fan, if you want to lecture my co-host, that's okay. Feel free to abuse him, but I stick him in the corner for not knowing puck.
Yeah, I mean, I can only handle so much. I don't know how you process as much sports information as you do. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I can't keep track of more than 3 things at once.
I know what I know.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we go from that. Hockey Hotline's open. You got an opinion, feel free, jump on board. Late-breaking stories off the SportsWire.
Yeah, more kind of disappointing news with Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods is checked into a Zurich, Switzerland rehab center. It's the 3rd time he's been in rehab in Europe for substance abuse. I guess I just asked the generic question for fans, and I'm really kind of surprised because we've talked about this now for more than a week. All the stuff that happened to him, the way he reacted. We've not gotten one response in Fans Forum on Tiger Woods. So I will ask this question. Has he lost you as a fan? Or is he just a human being with a lot of failings? Is he in denial? Is he a power control freak? Has he been surrounded by enablers? And to use my golf term, I'm sitting here watching again all the junk this guy's been involved in, and he is triple bogeying his life, his health, and his credibility in golf. That's what I think. You tell me. Have you lost your enthusiasm about what Tiger Woods was versus what he's become? Let's talk soccer. It's the first bad blowout in a while. SDFC lose to San Jose Earthquakes 3-0. Another red card. Played shorthanded for 61 minutes. You can't do that. San Jose's a pretty good side. Got outshot 10-1 on goal. Gave up 23 total shots in the game. And all of a sudden, I hate to say this, they've lost their edge because we got 2 ties. We got the loss in that Champions Cup, and now we got an MLS loss. So there's 4 games here that they're not quite the same team that they were before. And the last item is about mainstream sports. It is now official. The last regional sports network has collapsed. Mainstream sports, Bally Sports, FanDuel, before that Fox Sports. Over the weekend, Main Street informed 20 NBA and NHL teams they're ceasing operations. Their contracts will be null and void 2 weeks from now when the regular season begins. The regular season ends and the postseason begins. They're out of the play-by-play business. They failed to make rights fee payments to 16 major league teams. This all started a couple of years ago with the Dodgers, or I should say with the Padres lost their TV contract. They've been through 2 bankruptcies. It's just a disaster. And I think from a business standpoint, and you're the business major in the room here, when they formed mainstream sports and they bought the other regional sports networks and combined them all, they came in and they evaluated all these markets and say, we think we can take this amount of money out of the market from an advertising standpoint and a subscription standpoint with the fans, and we will allow you to have this rights fee. The Angels were getting $100 million in Anaheim. The Padres are getting $60 million. With the collapse of mainstream sports, Padres are down to $30 million, and the Angels have bought a part of mainstream infrastructure, and they're going to try to run their own networks. They're not going to get $100 million. How could you make, and this happened in every other market. They were in so many markets, the Minnesotas, the Pittsburghs, the Atlantas. How could you make that bad a mistake in terms of evaluating dollars you could pull out of a market, which would then lure a team to join you because you promised them big money? How could you make that kind of mistake? Come on, business major.
I think what it is that when one team does a deal, like let's just say, just pick a team. The Astros they demand $50 million a year or $80 million a year in rights. Then suddenly all the other teams say, well, I should get as much as the Astros. Our market is bigger than Houston. Or, they'll start to kind of play one off the other. But clearly that the numbers don't work in the spreadsheet. I mean, the business model is flawed. So there's just not enough inbound revenue for this. So in a way, this is sort of like a wake-up call. Well, actually, we're beyond the wake-up call. I mean, this is the whole thing imploding. It's proving that the business model is trash. Now they're going to have to rebuild it, and they're going to have to rebuild it with smarter guys figuring out the numbers and counting the beans correctly. So the fact that these leagues are like MLB, I like the way they're bringing everyone under one umbrella, and hopefully they can get some of the big boys to join them. That the NFL has kind of done that. So I can imagine more sports are going to be doing something similar.
Okay, that's where we are. We put a lot of topics on the table. We invite you to do it. We're going to tell you kind of a unique story as we ramp up this podcast about something that happened over the weekend. But first, Fans Forum Chat Box is coming. This podcast brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers. 8 locations to serve you in San Diego. Windows and doors, what we're talking about this week. Ever thought about making changes? Think more. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see what they've got to offer. John, I'm ready. I bet you're ready. We got a lot of things here we want people to respond to. Go ahead.
Okay, you asked for some Tiger Woods comments. Here's one from Music to My Ears. Thank you. Hey, why does Tiger Woods still have a driver's license? Entitled rich guy. Oh, I was on the phone with the president.
Yeah, dropping hints. Tried to talk his way out of it, as he did in the very bad crash 2 years ago in Los Angeles. How he was allowed to roll his SUV down, shatter his leg, get trapped, walk away with no alcohol test, no drug test. You talk about a failure of law enforcement because it's Tiger Woods. So, I mean, if you want to track all the way back to his infidelity with his Swedish wife, getting caught with 12 different girlfriends. So that's who he is. So he lost me a long time ago. And I wrote a column a week ago on my website. It got some response. I was kind of surprised it did not get more. But forever, because of who Tiger is. Tiger was holding a press conference talking about another comeback from the back and knee and leg surgeries. Tiger's holding a press conference. He's going to consult on the building of another golf course in Scotland. Tiger's holding a press conference. He's talking about the new golf clubs. Buy my car, buy my gear, buy my equipment, buy my shirts. It's always about Tiger. Tiger needs to stop holding press conferences about this, that, and the other in golf and hold a press conference about why he does not work at kicking his addiction, because that is killing his life. It's going to kill his career. That's what I feel. Is he great? Yeah. 15 Grand Slams, the dominance from the personality on the tour. He's not great as a person anymore. And I understand denial. I understand addiction. It's really, really hard. But I don't know how a fan can look at him again and see that same person that he used to be.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how advertisers are still willing to have him as their, on their brand,
Oh, I don't think it's happening anymore. I mean, after the infidelity crisis, he lost everything.
So to me, Tiger Woods is obviously the greatest golfer we had ever seen. And not only was he winning all these tournaments, winning all of the, the majors, but he was a black and Asian guy, that was just tearing up the PGA. So culturally, athletically, from a champion perspective, this guy was hitting it on 5 stars on everything he touched. And now suddenly he's turned into Britney Spears. Where it's just a train wreck. Everything that he seems to touch goes sideways. So it's like our interest in Tiger Woods has gone from seeing him as a hero to seeing him as a tragic figure. And so it's a strange thing. And by the way, do you think he was really on the phone with the president? Or was that real?
Well, Trump did make a comment that, I talked to him. So maybe he was. But again, we're name dropping or try to talk your way out of this issue.
Well, he was so high. I mean, he was really out there.
He was buzzed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That's bad.
Yeah, he wasn't doing good. So it's tragic. Everything about it. Because he's no longer a Nike guy, is he? They left him a long time ago.
So that's where we are. Thank you for the input. I'm not just curious if anybody else feels the same way. I don't think we're overreacting. And again, because we do this podcast and we do sports talk the way it should be done, we have a right to talk and express an opinion. You tell me what you think, agree or disagree. Feel free. John, move on.
Agree or disagree. Okay, let's go here to Matt DeBeast. Matt, thank you very much for the donation. How many teams are regretting not getting Murakami?
He's hitting really well. I mean, he's got a bunch of home runs. I don't know if he's hitting for batting average. I think he's hit 4 home runs so far in 2 weeks. Now, I think his batting average might be 190. In fact, the last time I checked, I think all 4 of the home runs were the only hits that he's had. But dude is swinging a stick for the Chi Sox.
Yeah, is he like the Japanese Dave Kingman?
Yeah.
Is that what he kind of is, you think?
Yeah.
So it's cool that the White Sox are trying to, they got a guy there and they're building around him. But he was one of those intriguing free agents, that you weren't sure was it going to pan out. But, hey, good on him.
Yep, so far. I wouldn't, they paid him an extended contract, so be it. They're building. They do have a lot of building blocks at Comiskey Park, and they're force-feeding a lot of their kids. They've got a lot of young pitchers, too, but it won't be a 110-loss season for the Chi Sox, but it's probably a 90-loss season until the pitchers develop. But Murakami, he's been intriguing to watch. He's done more there than Okamoto has done in Toronto. Mm-hmm. And because the Dodgers play the Blue Jays beginning tonight, so that'll be kind of a fascinating World Series relink with them.
All right, right on. Okay. Goodness, I like to see these foreign players doing really well. Okay, let's go here to Mike. Hey, it's okay, John. Hacksaw just loves being controversial and that pirate swag. I'm okay with it.
They got all kinds of swag. Hey, if it's got a logo on it, I probably own it. I just wear it because I like the logos more than I like anything else. When, I wore Padre gear, Dodger fan bitched. I wore Dodger gear, Padre fan bitched. I wear Charger gear. People are mocking me about rooting for the Bolts. Now, I haven't done it yet. But I just want to forewarn you. I hope you don't have a heart attack if the day shows up and I wear Raider gear. Because I do have Raider gear hidden in the back of my closet.
Now, see, that would be the ultimate, sacrilege, if you were to be a Raider fan. I can see.
That doesn't mean I'm a Raider fan. I just happen to put it on that day.
Well, yeah, but if you put on the gear, you got to have a reason. Now, let me just say this. There's a lot of people that will wear team gear that aren't from that city, and you wonder what's the connection. And sometimes you ask them, they'll say, "Oh, it's just a hat in my closet or something." I can't believe people do that.
Well, you like the logo.
It's a great logo.
I hate the Yankees. I dislike the Yankees growing up on Long Island, but I love the Yankee logo that goes back to when I was a kid. What's wrong with that?
Well, I'm with you on this. I have baseball hats for a lot of different teams because I like the sport and I like the colors and the logos of the other teams. But I'd be wearing a Minnesota Twins hat, and people say, "Oh yeah, you're a Twinkie fan," and yada yada. And I'm like, no. And then they're like, "Why are you wearing the hat?" And I go, "I just like baseball and I like the team." And they're like, they don't get it. And I'm thinking to myself, that it does make sense. So I'm wearing a lot more like hats now of just the teams that I'm connected to, which for me are the Giants, the A's, and the Padres.
And 49ers.
Well, I mean, yeah, in other sports.
And a Raider Nation.
Yeah. And then the colleges my kids went to.
You're warped.
Cal Poly, Oklahoma, all good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You ought to see John's man cave. If we could ever do the podcast from his man cave next door, it's like a freaking shrine. It's like a hall of fame. It's really, really kind of cool. Okay, we move on.
All right. Okay, let's go here to Richard. Hey, fans forum. Batman had the Joker. Yogi Bear had Mr. Ranger. MLB fans have Manny. Him kicking the ball was Bush League. Then that FU bat flip for his homer, and he's disgusting towards the media.
The other thing is, I'm going to bring something up here that's going to touch a nerve, but I see remnants occasionally. This season, I'm not Johnny Hustle. Do you see him hit ground balls and just kind of saunter down the first base line?
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to run hard.
Like on routine grounders, he does that all the time.
Well, he's done it a lot this season.
Yeah, but if he has a chopper down the third baseline, he'll haul ass down the line. Yeah, but he picks his moments, and that's just a little bit of his anger, or it's his swag that makes us angry. But I mean, what Manny Machado did in that game, the fact that do you see that play when he kicked the ball?
Yeah,
and to me it's remarkable that you have the eye to foot coordination to do that.
He's a great athlete.
He is.
But where's his integrity? No,
but it to me, it was kind of gamesmanship, I mean, because if the ball hits the runner, then, it's in play, right? I mean, it's...
No, the runner's out, but that was not a batted ball. That was a thrown ball.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So it was a thrown ball, and if the thrown ball hits him, then the ball is still live.
It's still hot.
So the fact that he...
kicked it.
Well, he did it in a way that sort of looked like that he was stepping on it as opposed to kicking it. But he did it, in my opinion, perfectly, and that shows you baseball IQ. You can maybe say Manny Machado is an evil genius, but he's a genius. And I thought that was a cool play. And I love Manny, and that home run over the monster, and the kid, the guy from Buffalo who was born and raised in Del Mar caught the ball. A lot of storylines there at Fenway.
Okay, just understand that's came out of his mouth about Manny Machado. So if you have an opinion, you can direct your opinion on Manny to his best friend, John Riley.
I'm a big Manny guy.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, let's go to Paris. Hello, Lee. Looks like the Padres finally got the lineup done.
Well, we don't know that, but this is a break in the schedule because Boston. I thought Boston was going to really come out of the gate, and outside of Garrett Crochet, Boston's pitching staff has not been dominant, and Boston's got. They got a lot of good young talent, but that's the key word there is young. I think there's something missing in Boston's batting order, and that's a power veteran bat. That's a Bregman-type player. Because I do like Duran, and I do like the other outfielders, but boy, there's something missing in terms of oomph to go with all those kids in the batting order. So it may be that Boston, they're going to need a veteran home run hitter to go with everything else. And so they go from Boston, which isn't playing well, and they're going to meet the Pirates. So they're not going to face Skeens, I don't think, in this series.
Yeah, I think they are.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah. I think, in fact, isn't Pivetta matching up with them, the number ones?
Okay.
On the way they go through the rotation? I mean, I want to talk about the Padres, but quickly on the Red Sox. I think they expected Bregman to re-sign there, and he didn't. And so, suddenly you're right. They don't have like the David Ortiz type, the Manny Ramirez type, some of these, guys that with all this, energy and power. It's not the same. But I just want to give a shout out to Marcelo Meyer, the second baseman, East Lake High School, San Diego kid, and he's really done well for himself, because that making it all the way to the major leagues and being a starter, especially in a place like Boston, and he's holding his own. Yeah. And there's another player from East Lake High School, Grant Holman,
right, pitcher.
He pitcher, and he just got picked up by the Dodgers.
Right, he'd had some health issues.
Yeah, so he was a talented guy in high schools. I remember my son was always playing their teams and everything else.
Yeah, he's in Oak City now.
Yeah, so good on him. But the Padres, they figured out. I mean, First of all, it's good that the manager is not being stubborn and sticking with his lineup. You know, he's willing to experiment and try things. You don't like the experimentation. I think it's great. It shows an open-mindedness, a willingness to try new things. Sometimes he has his bench coach make the lineup for him, but clearly the guys started hitting. I don't know if it's magically because you put Laureano at 1 and Tatis 2, they suddenly start hitting. It just seems like they're finally getting results from their approach, and they've felt confident in the approach all year, but it just hadn't turned into anything until just now.
Okay, we'll see where it goes. You know, it's small sample size here. Collectively, there are some guys still not hitting in that batting order, but you can say that about a lot of different clubs. So we'll see. Padres, Pirates, series continues. Road trip continues. Next one.
Okay. Let's keep on going down the list here and go to Casey. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Hacksaw. With the final week and a half left in the NHL season, who do you think gets the last wild card spot in the Western Conference?
It's a real dogfight. It really is. I mean, obviously, Colorado and Dallas are just in a different galaxy. I mean, the kind of seasons they put together, really spectacular. I don't know that the Kings have enough. The Kings just seem to be faltering, and I'd like to see them get in, but I don't think so. I think they're not going to bring DJ Smith back as coach. Obviously, NZ Kopitar will retire this year, so there are going to be some changes there. Have to be some changes there. To me, it's very disappointing, but injuries kind of really sidetracked them. Losing Fiala at the Olympic break just, I thought, was almost borderline catastrophic to them because he was scoring a lot of goals. A little bit stunned. Byfield has not followed up last year's good season with a dominant season yet. So we'll see. Again, if you're the last one in, you're probably the first one that's going home because the way these playoffs are structured. It's Colorado and Dallas are just in a different world right now. And you look at the Eastern Conference, holy cow. When we have that Molson's Canadian, you can look at the Eastern Conference and tell me, wow, there's a lot of teams all bunched together.
Yeah, I mean, the beauty of this podcast is I am watching hockey, but I'm still a newbie to the sport, trying to figure out the teams and the players and who's great and who's mediocre and who's not, you know. So it's fun, but we're going into the playoffs, and this is going to be a great time to watch it.
Okay, we move on. Thank you on the Hockey Hotline for joining us.
Okay, now there's a lot of guys that are in here that are just big shout-outs for the Lady Bruins, and I want to get a few of them here. Here's Arnie. Way to go, Lady Bruins. Greg says, I'll get back to Greg on that one. Bill Bernard says, UCLA ladies, back to earth. I don't buy the BS. Oh, well, there's some more comments there on baseball, but a shout-out for UCLA ladies. And then here's one here from Carlos. How about those UCLA Lady Bruins? Not only did they win, they blew out South Carolina, controlling the game from the start to finish. Bruin Nation is so proud of these ladies. UCLA, a clap.
Look in your email box, Mick Cronin. There's probably an email from Coach Close. This is how you build teams.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, who in their right mind would have ever thought UCLA Lady Bruin basketball would be an NCAA champion? Well, Mick Cronin and those guys are home watching the games on TV.
Yeah, I mean, Corey Close, I remember seeing an interview with her shortly after she was hired. Wasn't she like an assistant at SC or there was?
I think so.
Yeah. And then it was like it wasn't a sports interview, but it was like maybe 60 Minutes or something interviewed her. And she was just really caught me being a very impressive, woman and that knew how to teach not just the game, but life. Yeah. And so it's just so cool that she lands at UCLA with all the heritage of John Wooden and what he meant to the game, not only in terms of athleticism, but building character. Mm-hmm. So I just love it when you get a coach like that. As a UCLA, for the UCLA alums, I'm not one, but for the UCLA alums, they've got to feel really proud of their university because not only are they winners, but they're winning it the right way.
Well, when you consider what's happened across the hallway, the mess in football, a.k.a. Chip Kelly, the mess in basketball with Mick Cronin's treatment of people, and obviously the lousy leadership of the Martin Jarman, and then you add into the lawsuits, Rose Bowl lease, etc. There's a lot of negative stuff spinning around Westwood. But not this day with her and her program. It's really cool. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, let's. I got a few of these guys. I bounced them. Let's get them back in here. Here's Greg. Hi, Lee and John. What's the biggest need for the Padres to challenge the Dodgers in the NL West?
For Ohtani to wind up on the disabled list. Well, no, I just don't think the Padres have any wherewithal to make any deals, and they don't have anything to trade unless they're going to trade the catcher Ethan Salas, or they're going to trade one of the two young left-handed pitchers at Class A. I mean, because that's been the only currency. Now, when the franchise is sold, new owner comes in, maybe deeper pockets might allow A.J. Preller to go higher payroll. That's also higher in luxury tax, because the Seidlers, I don't think, will do it. I think they're tapped. Their payroll's at $224 million. Their luxury tax, I think, is at $9 million. I don't think there's any acquisitions coming. And then even if they let you make an acquisition, what are you going to give up? I'm sure you can make a trade, a player rental, but are you going to give up Salas? You're going to give up Cruz Schoolcraft, the top left-hander that's in the organization? And what are you going to give up? So, because that's what AJ has always done. So I just think this is the team we have. Ownership has spent as much as they're going to spend, and these guys just got to grind and hope they can play in October.
My bet is that if they're competitive, around the All-Star break, they'll be in on some deals. AJ is going to make a move.
But how?
Well, that's to your point. He's going to have to trade some of his upper talent in the minors. But it's interesting to me, you could say the Padres need more offense, more pitching too. But I think the offense, more slug, is like the most dominant need. But you think, well, where would you put that? Because you're not going to replace any of the three outfielders, I don't think. You're not going to replace Manny or Xander. So you'd really have to get either a new second baseman, first baseman, DH. Those would be the three positions that if you were to get more slug, that's where you'd want to get it from.
I'd much rather go get another established starting pitcher. But then again, unless they give up on Salas, I don't want to trade the kid pitchers at A-ball, because I think there's real upside there. But those kids are a long ways away from being in the major leagues. Salas is probably the most marketable guy. But here we go. We're going to just keep trading players, and we'd never get there.
Well, let me ask you this. If you could wave a magic wand, would you undo the Mason Miller trade? Would the Padres be better off with Leo DeVries, playing AAA or AA right now? Or are they better off with Mason Miller for the next, 3 or 4 years?
Well, they got Mason Miller at controllable cost. Robert Suarez, who had earned all those saves, was going to earn a big payday, and they did not want to pay him.
Yeah.
So they traded DeVries to have Miller replace Suarez.
Yeah. In my opinion, that was a good and bold trade by Preller.
But at the end of the day, he just continues to eviscerate the entire farm system.
But he can reload, man. He's got boots on the ground. They're finding the talent. They're bringing it in. And, the guys like Schoolcraft, he kind of looks a little bit like Randy Johnson.
That was huge.
Yeah.
But, again, he's 19 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a Class A. We're talking way down the road.
It's kind of like when they traded Max Fried to the Braves. He was really young, and now look what he's turned into.
Ace of the Yankee staff at this point. All right, thank you for joining us.
Okay, we'll go back to Bill here again. Hey, UCLA ladies, and he goes, and now back to earth. I don't buy the BS that MLB owners can't open their books. If you have nothing to hide, then open them. Don't need a cap, need a floor only. Let's see greedy owners spend them.
Well, just creatively finance a plan. Nobody opens their books. NFL doesn't open their books to the union, yet they've had labor peace for an extended period of time, but they're flush with money because their TV contract setup is very different than what's happened in Major League Baseball. There's been no collapse of the regional sports networks that impacted the NFL, because the NFL, everything's on TV and everything's a network contract, and everything, the pie, all goes into one pot, and they all share it, all 32 teams. So it's a different structure, and they just got to work through it. That's all there is. But you got between now and opening day. Don't talk to me about freaking lockouts. Talk to me about the mechanics of how do you make a luxury tax and a floor to spending, and then how do you do the algebra to share all the revenue? Because John and I talked about this, and one of these podcasts, if we have a quiet week, we will put up a list of things that have to be decided how do you share? What happens to deferred money? What happens to luxury tax rates? What is baseball revenue? What is stadium revenue? What is business entrepreneur revenue outside the stadium? All this, what goes into the bucket, what does not go into the bucket? What percentage do you charge the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Mets and the Cubs of their TV contracts? It's a very complex thing. You just can't yell salary cap, Florida spending, because you have to be able to work all those other facets into the mix.
Yeah, it's a complex model here that they got to tweak. But as far as this, you can't really demand a private company open their books. That's what's interesting about the Packers, since they're publicly owned, that those books are viewable. But I think, wasn't that part of the controversy when did the Dodgers go bankrupt, or was it McCord that went bankrupt? And did they expose some of their books in the courts because of that?
Yeah, and then that's why McCord was removed. Because they were funneling Dodger money into private funds that the McCord family was using while they were declaring bankruptcy.
Yeah, exactly. Interesting. So when transparency or sunshine, transparency is the best sunshine, right?
Okay, we move on.
But I want to ask you a question, a little bit of a tangent here. Did you see the proposal from Bernie Sanders talking about how if teams trying to prevent teams from moving? Did you see that?
I heard about it.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing because I don't know the details on it, but basically it was if the team wants to move, you could give the fans the right to somehow hold on to the team. And I don't know if that meant to kind of make it a public asset, and if that's the case, then the books are open. But it was just kind of an interesting angle. I'm surprised you didn't hear about that one.
It's not going to work because you got stadiums, you got contracts, you got co-ownership of facilities. You're not going to be allowed to somebody invoke and stop a move if the lease is up.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
It's a wild idea, but I don't think it floats.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's keep on moving, and let's go down the list. Here's go to Douglas. This is probably a wagging the finger at me. He goes, Islanders won several Stanley Cups in a row.
Like I said, just Google Dennis Potvin.
Okay.
Michel Bossy.
I mean,
Clark Gillies.
What decade did all that happen?
70s into the 80s.
70s into the 80s.
Yeah, they've had some stretches where they were phenomenal. But that's okay. We'll just drag this guy kicking and screaming into the hockey world.
Well, I want to learn more, but it's just, where do you start on all this? And then we have the Gulls here in San Diego. We don't have an NHL team, so you kind of root for Anaheim. I don't know. I mean, I'm a Bay Area guy. How are the Sharks doing? I mean, the Sharks competitive?
It's been painful, and they're rebuilt. And Max Celebrini and Will Smith, their last two number one picks, are just spectacular players.
Great. Okay, well, then I got something to root for there.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right, let's keep on going. And Bill has a lot of comments for us. We may go back and get Bill in a few more. Let's go to John. He goes, as for Tiger, I suspect he's a captive of the revenue stream. It's a lot of pressure to keep money rolling in for his handlers and his enablers. When you've been on top of the world and now you're not, you won't ever be again. Memories talk to you and won't let you forget.
Well, he's an unbelievably successful entrepreneur as a basis of the success of his phenomenal career. But that life is over, and his life is so out of control with the substance abuse problems as a byproduct of all the injuries. He was blabbing to the police after this last arrest about, as John alluded to, I was on the phone with the president. Well, big freaking deal. And they was blabbing about, I've had 29 surgeries, back, leg, knee, ankle. Yeah. And that's why I'm taking these pills. But he couldn't tell you what pills he had taken that day because he was so buzzed. He should not be allowed to talk his way out of anything else. And I'm not saying cut his head off, but the guy needs to be removed from the public spotlight, and the guy needs to admit he's been in denial, and he needs to go in and address the addiction. And the fact that he's been in substance abuse twice before, and now he's in Zurich, Switzerland, doing it in private, he's got to make the commitment to survive this. Otherwise, his life is on a downward spiral. Like I say, he's triple bogeying everything in his life, his health, and his career.
Yeah. And you always thought highly of his family, that they had raised him with really good values, and maybe not. Maybe we don't know the whole story, but he's clearly, emotionally, it's got to be hard. You know, you were at the top, now you're sliding down the hill, and everyone knows you're addicted to drugs, but you can't give them up. I don't know. I just hope that, from a completely different point of view, I hope he is still treated equally under the law, you know, that he doesn't get any special favors. So like when he's trying to call Trump, I'm like wondering, you know, is he
dropping names?
Yeah, or is he trying to like have Trump help him get off, you know? So just take care of himself, take care of business, but at the same time, I don't want to see him get special treatment.
Addictions are so hard, but you have to want to commit to beat the addictions. And even if you commit and get clean, it doesn't mean you're not going to relapse. You know, that phrase they use, one day at a time, I think that's a really true phrase.
Yeah.
Because that hook is always out there.
Well, here's a comment from Bill. He kind of on the same thing. He says, I read one man's opinion, Lee. Feel disappointment, but retain empathy. Having worked as a DA, I can tell you addiction is tragic, and treatment, not punishment, is critical.
But the person has to want to beat it, and it's very, very hard. I think in this case, this person has avoided it just because of celebrity status.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a good point, though, Bill. Thank you for being with us.
Okay, let's keep on going. Go to Teamer. Hey, the Angels take 2 out of 3 versus the Mariners, and Jack Koch pitched well on Saturday night.
Kochanowicz,
and Joe Adell makes history by robbing 3 home runs in one night.
I just don't think they have enough starting pitching. Kochanowicz has struggled. Ryan Johnson has struggled. They just called up Klassen from AAA. He struggled. So three of their 5 starters aren't real trustworthy, and I don't know where else they're going to go to get a starting pitcher right now unless they think that they can just grow these guys. Soriano's been brilliant right out of the gate, but I just don't think they have enough players. And collectively as a team, as I told John early on, 8 of their 9 guys in a batting order are hitting under 240.
Well, Grayson Rodriguez is there, but he's hurt, right?
He's hurt, and Manoah's hurt.
That's the other starter. So I think they're assuming that those guys were going to be kind of anchoring the top end of that rotation.
But when they pitched in the spring, they didn't pitch. They didn't pitch like they had prior in Baltimore or Toronto.
Wow.
Not good.
It's just Angels.
162 games with that staff. Wow.
Wow. Crazy. Okay, let's go here. Okay, this is interesting. This is from Robert. He goes, Michael Malone's daughter plays volleyball at North Carolina.
Family connection. Well, his name was recommended I was told, I think they had 5 former Carolina players in the NBA. Tyler Hasbrow, the former center, was the one that made the recommendation of Malone. And after they had missed on the 4 guys at the top of the list, they went to him. Malone wants to coach. There's no doubt Malone's been successful. He's got 600-plus wins, but at the end of the day, he's also really abrasive and really demanding. And this is a whole different environment. This is, guarantee you, this is not Dean Smith. This is not Roy Williams. This is not Hubie that you bring into the front door here. So it's going to be interesting to see chemistry.
I wonder what Michael Jordan had to say on this whole thing.
I don't even know if he was ever contacted. Michael's so busy with his entrepreneur stuff, including NASCAR.
Yeah,
I don't know that he was ever contacted.
Yeah. I'd be kind of curious, but you just think there's just so many great players that have come through that program. Mm-hmm. I'm surprised that there aren't a lot of either players that are now coaching that would be likely candidates, or just guys that were on the Dean Smith, Roy Williams tree, their coaching tree.
There were a lot of players. You're talking about Tar Heel alumni players.
Yeah.
That thing was split right down the middle. There are a lot of players that wanted Hubie Davis out of there, and there are equal amount, almost split. Even Steven that said, no, let's just grow with this guy and just continue to work it. But there are so many setbacks with Hubie as the coach. I think in the big picture, the booster said, we can't allow this to go on and on. We become mediocre with him as a leader.
Yeah. So, he wasn't getting it done.
Yep. Okay,
let's go to Surf City Bill. Hey, Lee. Is the Angels' solution a clean house, including a sale of the team by Artie?
That's what the fans are of the opinion of. Artie's tried hard. I think his heart's been in the right place a bunch of times. He's made a ton of mistakes. He's got problems, obviously, with the drug addiction, the death of 2 pitchers. There's problems with the stadium lease, and there's problems with who he's hired to be his trusted baseball expertise. Haven't been very good. So, I mean, it's been a long run since they've been in the playoffs. And when was the last time they had a real, true winning season? And, geez, the era of Mark Langston and Chuck Finley and Tim Salmon, God, that was a long time ago. And Artie's tried hard. It hasn't worked. Sometimes you need new ideas, new leader with new money. I happen to think the Anaheim market is a spectacular market. It's a different market. I mean, it is a huge Hispanic market. You put a really good team there, Angel games could start to resemble what the WBC games were. I mean, just a big Mardi Gras. I mean, I did talk radio. I did my shows from Angel Stadium, and we weren't even the Angel station. But we went up there because we had such a big regional signal. They let us do our shows from out front at Angel Stadium where the baseball hats were. It was kind of cool, kind of novel. It was during the Mike Scioscia era. So I think they need new leadership.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, on a way, you feel bad for Artie because he clearly wants to be a baseball owner. I remember when he first bought the team, didn't he like lower beer prices?
Yeah, and that was fascinating. And they were winning.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of neglect at the end of the Disney era. I mean, one of the most stunning things for me was to be up there, see an Angel home game, and to see the Disney skybox, always dark. Nobody was ever in the Disney skybox. How's that possible? Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Well, it is.
But even there's just so many other weird things with this franchise, like why they're called the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, that I know the reason why because of the contract and everything. But isn't the city of Anaheim still going after them, trying to
get it changed for the next time? I'm sure that when and if it ever is sold, that'll be a point for the new owners that they're going to be pressured on. But they used to be called the California Angels way back, the Don Baylor, Joe Rudy.
Yeah.
When they were really good, the Reggie Jackson era.
And Nolan Ryan.
Exactly. And Tanana.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's heritage there, and there's been good support there. Even through these bad years, they were drawing $2.5 million the last couple of years, considering how substandard the product has been.
Just such a missed opportunity, isn't it?
It's a market. I think it's a huge market unto itself.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's keep on going. We're going to do some social media, Lee.
Do it.
All right, let's go get some Dodger talk. This is from Brian Malone. He goes, hey, it's not the Dodgers' fault baseball is the way it is. It's the 10 to 15 teams that don't spend any money every year. That's the real problem. It's not the Dodgers' fault that the Cubs didn't want to re-sign Kyle Tucker, and it's definitely not the Dodgers' fault that the Pirates had a $30 million payroll last season.
No, you're correct. Wearing Dodger blue, you're correct with your assessment. This is a baseball leadership-ownership problem that starts with Rob Manfred through ownership, through the executive committee, and the union has to weigh in on this. I mean, the union's only importance is to get the best contract for every player, not just Juan Soto. But that means the best contract for anybody that go to Detroit or go to Pittsburgh or go to Miami or Tampa Bay. Well, that means exerting pressure, which then leads us to my statement, floor to spending is what's going to make the sport great. It has in the NFL. That's what happens in the NBA. That's what they have in the NHL. There's a cap and a floor to spending. You got to spend 85 to 90% of the cap every year. Makes a lot more money available for a second-tier, good starting pitcher to go to Pittsburgh or a power hitter to go to Pittsburgh. Suddenly, if Pittsburgh's got, because they have a floor to spending, if Pittsburgh has to spend to that floor, suddenly Pittsburgh's a good team with veterans coming in, getting paid. They're in the pennant race. And I'll tell you, PNC Park is beautiful. And they get in the pennant race, that place will be sold out. And it'll be like that in all the other cities. But baseball has to find a way through the commissioner, through the owners, through the executive council, through the union to force this, to have a floor to spending.
This is such a Dodgers comment right here. It's like, I always compare the Dodger Nation to like Marsha Brady. And like this, it's not Marsha's fault that she's the prettiest girl in high school. It's such classic Dodgerism here. And he's right. It's not the Dodgers' fault that other teams aren't spending money.
It's the rules that exist today.
And those other teams need to spend money. Let me ask you this. You remember when the Padres surprised the world and just started spending money? I mean, they did it immediately after the Fowler regime bought, but then when Seidler took over, they took it to a new level. People are saying this will never work. You can't financially support a team with that payroll in San Diego. Did San Diego prove them wrong? And is that a formula that can work in Pittsburgh and work in Miami?
Depends. Economics, the advertising, fan support economics. Can the fans afford it? I am stunned. Padres have raised their ticket prices 57% in 5 years. Parking is through the roof. Fans continue to come. They find a way to. That's how they're spending their entertainment dollar. Now, would it be the same thing in Miami? I don't know. Would it be the same thing in Tampa? I don't know. Pittsburgh, I don't know what the economics in those cities are. I don't know that Pittsburgh could afford to have a $224 million payroll just because it's a smaller city and it's a region. And it's not a region of big population or a region of big money. But if you're going to change the revenue share and you're going to put more money in the pot and the big teams are going to add more TV money into the big pot to be shared, so that means there's more money for Pittsburgh or Detroit or Miami or Tampa, whomever, to have in their pocket. Well, now you invoke the Florida spending, which means if they're taking the money, they got to spend the money on a major league roster.
Yeah. But I think the Dodgers are proving is that they got the money to spend, but they rarely make a bad decision, which is incredible. I mean, I just think of like the Detroit Tigers are spending a lot of money. Remember they signed Javi Baez, a big deal, and he bats like 8th or 9th in the lineup.
Yeah.
So sometimes teams spend the money. Well, Artie Moreno's a good example, spending the money, and they don't get the return on that investment.
Well, you get Anthony Rendon cursed by injuries, Josh Hamilton cursed by drug addiction.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
hey, by the way, did you see Mike Trout got hit in the hand? Is he okay from that?
I haven't heard that anything's broken, but yeah, he got popped. But he's not hitting. He's hitting .212.
Well, I thought he got off to a pretty good start.
Well, for a couple games. He's hit some home runs, but...
Okay.
So that's where we are. Okay, let's do a couple more here.
Okay, this is one for tonight, and this is for the championship game. This is from AP. Michigan's transfers like Mara and Johnson rode the bench at UCLA and Illinois. Cadeau left UNC after 2 seasons for lack of development. The move was mutual. UNC didn't want him. Dusty May has built this team from other teams' leftovers.
Coach him up. Lack of patience. Mick Cronin recruited 5 from Europe about 3 years ago, and virtually all of them left. But again, it's an adjustment. You're talking about Mara coming from Spain. So he's coming to Spain academically, culturally, being away from his family. Young guy. He really struggled. He wanted out, didn't play very well. Cronin's tolerance level probably wasn't very good. Because that's Mick's Cronin. That's Mick Cronin MO. That he's really pushy and doesn't have a lot of patience. He lost a really good player. He's taken a good player 2 years to become a star at Michigan. So you get them, you got to grow them. Kids have to mature. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes the second opportunity, a little bit more maturity. But I mean, what we've seen from that center at Michigan in this tournament.
Yoxel.
I'd never seen that before. And Lendenberg that's another example of a kid that was very immature, mentally, academically, physically, just kind of growing into it in his last year there.
I just think about Cronin. I mean, he was throwing his players under the bus, So I wonder if Mara finally just said, the hell with this guy, I'm going to go somewhere else.
Well, he was so young, and Cronin is such a pressure point guy. Kids grow and develop, John, at different levels, different ages.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, not everybody is a Cooper Flagg coming into freshman year and just...
Just what I saw with Mara in the game against Arizona. I mean, the guy was, flying down the lane and just alley-oop, slam dunk, and he's 7'3". You're like, oh, my God, this guy's unstoppable. But this is going to be a fun game. I mean, the entertaining part of the game will be watching Dan Hurley and seeing the kind of, chaos. He have you seen the thing about him wearing not only the same underwear, but the same suit?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just silly stuff like that. And then seeing Dusty May, who's a guy that we're learning more about, who's more of an intellectual, more of a positive vibe psychologist kind of guy. So I'm with Michigan, not because I root for the players, but this Dusty May guy is intriguing me.
I concur with you. Listen, we're going to wrap this up a little bit early. I'm going to make a statement here because John knows the story. I'm playing hurt. I was involved in a really bad auto accident Saturday at 4:30 in the morning on the way to KUSI. I cannot believe I'm sitting here doing a podcast a couple days after getting trapped in my car after getting involved in a multiple car tractor-trailer accident. I'm hurting. We taped a Tylenol to it. We got through this podcast.
We did.
But I will tell you, I interacted with EMT guys who came to help me on Interstate 15 at 4:30 Saturday morning. They were phenomenal. And the new Escondido Palomar Hospital's emergency room, they were spectacular. And I was in there for 5+ hours. So I'm glad I'm feeling okay. I'm not hitting 335 right now, I guarantee you that. But we showed up because they gave me some Tylenol, and I taped it to it, and I hope next week, when I come back, I'll probably be a little bit better. So my Easter gift was I survived. And I told John, I saw my car this morning at the tow yard. I can't believe that I was able to climb out of the car after getting trapped in it without major internal injuries. And it was just fluke. Wrong place, wrong time at 4:30, and cars and trucks are going by me, and I got hit, and I hit them. Just awful. So we're here, and I am going to lecture you about becoming a better hockey fan.
Okay. Well, first of all, we're very happy you're here. And the way you described it to me over the weekend, and even when you walked in, I'm surprised that you're here. I mean, given how your whole body is just aching and, it's a remarkable story, but we're glad you're here. We're glad you're playing hurt because I think a lot of people love your show. and thanks for sharing some personal stuff.
Yeah, we talk a little bit about it. Do you want me to show you the picture?
Yeah.
Did I show you the picture?
You showed it to me, but you can show the fans. I mean,
how do we do this on the
just
camera?
kind of point towards that camera.
This is the front end of my car.
Here, let me hold this. I'll get it closer.
This happened at...
See if it'll focus on that. There it is.
This happened at 4:30 on Saturday morning on my way to KUSI, and I was shocked. It's the first major accident I've had in 50 years of driving, and I was shocked and I was stunned and I knew I was hurt. And I was really pissed because I had so many good topics to talk about that we had laid out that we were going to put in my 6:30 a.m. segment on KUSI. But hopefully I'll be back on TV next Saturday, and we'll be back here on Thursday. So we thank you for your support, but I thank the EMT people. They are spectacular. And then obviously I thank the good people at Escondido Palomar. That is a great institution, great hospital.
Look at this. Music to my ears, $100 donation. I'll pay the medical bills.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to have to buy a new car, too.
I think you will.
So that's the story behind the story. Tape a Tylenol to it, and I got through it. I was not sure I was going to get through it because I didn't feel very good during the entire podcast, but thank you for joining us. John, it's been a pleasure. This has been cool. Can't wait for Monday. On Tuesday, I'm going to lecture you about the New York freaking Islanders.
Okay, hey, we got NCAA championship game tonight. Michigan-UConn is going to be a good one.
Exactly. And we hope you've enjoyed this podcast, brought to you by DIXIELINE Lumber and Home Centers, 8 locations in San Diego to serve you. Got projects, they got materials, want ideas. Go to DIXIELINE.com to see what they've got to offer. Thank you for being with us and being so supportive. We'll see you come Thursday. Enjoy Championship Monday via Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps.
Touchdown, San Diego!
For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.